Welcome, everybody. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Coming at you live from New York. This is Spirit Matters, your daily check in. Daily is in 5 days a week, whenever we're not on break. But most of the time we're here, and my name is Dayal. I'm here with the Chuta Gopi, and we're so glad to be joined by our live studio audience who is with us. If you'd ever like to join our live studio audience, just write to us at info@bhakticenter.org or write to me. I want to hear from you. Dayal@bhakticenter.org, Dayal at bhakticenter.org. Would love to hear from you. And do we have any announcements or anything this morning to share, Achyuta?
I think we're good.
We're going to India, if anybody wants to come. Going to
Hey,
India this fall. Achyuta Gopi and I and Kishore. We're leaving in, gosh, 7 weeks.
yep. We say this fall like it's that far away. It is
We say
not.
this fall as if it's like way in advance, and it's like next month.
It is
So
in
please,
September.
please, please join us. We got a good crew of people coming. We've got a few spots left. Some people were calling me this week. I was talking with some beautiful people. Ray, if you're out there, and Andrew, I spoke earlier. Don't know if you're listening at all, or don't mind if you, hope you don't mind me sharing your name in public, your email address, your phone numbers,
Social security number.
social security. I didn't get that far. Yeah. So, okay. Well, we're here. We're reading the Gita. That's what we do. We've been reading the Bhagavad Gita every day as a way for us to reconnect to divine spiritual truth. I've been feeling that a little bit lately of feeling like this, the way the world is today, so much. The idea, I saw this drawing yesterday, and it was like a drawing of a calendar, and it had like 3 days next to each other in a calendar, and like the two end days were like filled with stuff, filled with tons of stuff. And then the middle day had only like one appointment in it or something. And the caption was like, you don't need to fill this day also, you know?
Hmm.
The idea of like, okay, you don't have to like, okay, there's space, let me fill it with something. And I find myself in a space where even if I'm not intentionally, if I'm not intentionally trying to fill my space, it's so easy to just fill it with just whatever is just coming in, checking your messages constantly, this, that, or the other. And, even when we have free time, am I using it for the things that I really want to be using it for? And so this podcast is an opportunity for you to fill a little bit of your time with something, something, something spiritual, something positive to reconnect, not just to what I got to say or you have to say, but to what ancient yogic Vedic texts are telling us. So
Yeah,
we're
I
here to
am.
read from the Gita, share a few thoughts, send you on your way, send you off to work, send you to bed wherever you are, and that's it.
Help you wake up.
Help you wake up, help you go to sleep, help you get through the day, have your lunch.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good or not, but I am such a fan of putting my phone on do not disturb. The problem is sometimes that then happens for like days on end. It is on do not disturb for days.
For days. Do
And
not
somehow I
disturb.
just
It's
have
like
like,
a chuta. Are you okay? Somebody knocking on your door.
yeah, I'm like, why wouldn't I be? What's the problem? Yeah, I've been unreachable for them. I'm like, oh, so peaceful, so nice.
Um, so let's get into it. I don't know what just happened. My computer kind of froze, and I'm not able to do anything.
What?
Although it's in a weird space. I would share my screen, but I can't do that even. So I need you to read the verses because I
No
can't
problem.
I can't
I
even
can
pull them
tell
up.
how
And
crazy.
I'm not even gonna be. I can't chat with people. I can't Google stuff. When oh wait, it just came back. I think I have an old computer. It's like 10 years old. 10, that's like old, right? 10 or 12 years old. That's an old computer. No, it's not
Yeah,
that old. I think it's 5 years old. That's
because that's
not
like
old.
10 or 12. I
No,
don't.
it's not that old. That was my previous computer. Five. I'm thinking of
Okay, because
5 years. Is five
operating
years old?
systems will not even recognize you anymore. They will not identify with you. They will not
Kimberly's
regulate you.
laughing at me. She's saying, no, it's not. It's not that old.
My
That was my
computer
previous computer.
kind
It's not that old. It's like
All
four
right,
years. It's
cool.
4 years old computer. She was
Um,
like, we're not here to talk about how old your computer is.
4 years doesn't have to be too old though.
Okay. All right. Anyways, it's back. Should I read the verses or you?
I can read it. It's fine.
Okay, you read it.
We
Do it.
are in text 12, still chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. It's kind of a cool one. I've been asking people that lately. People have come up to me and they've been like, I wanna take my spiritual life to the next level. And I asked, okay, what are you doing every day that brings your heart joy?
Mm. I thought you were
And
gonna
kind of
I
like,
thought you were gonna pull out a conch shell and blow it.
I actually also love doing that. But but I was asking, I was like, what are you doing every day that's bringing your heart joy? And they kind of looked at me like, wait, what? Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Your spirituality is supposed to bring your heart joy. Are you doing something every day that is connecting with that? Are you doing something to bring your heart joy?
mm,
And so I think it's really important that we examine what that could be if we don't have something. And
mm,
first, really ask ourselves, am I doing something every day that's bringing my heart joy spiritually?
mm. The words I'm reading here in the Sanskrit are Sanjanayam Harsham, and it's translated as increasing cheerfulness. It's a cute way of putting it.
It is. Like, have we been increasing the cheerfulness?
Mm. Tell me more about that.
We've spoken about it before that devotional service is supposed to be joyfully performed, but
Mm,
sometimes we can kind of go through it a little bit like zombies. Um, and it can get a little bit like "Rah, rah, rah," the routine of it and the monotony of it. And then are we breaking up that monotony of spiritual life?
mm,
Are we breaking up that routine of spiritual life where it does not simply feel like, all right, I'm just doing this to get by? How long
mm,
are we just getting by? Sometimes, like you said, it's not that we always have to fill each moment with something philosophical or something deep or
mm,
something intense.
mm,
Life is already going to be deep and intense and philosophical. Are we finding ways to laugh with Krishna?
mm,
Are we finding parts of Krishna's personality where we are laughing with God? We have a really unprecedented opportunity. One of my spiritual teachers, he said something that I really, really love. Krishna is God with his guard down.
mm,
In a lot of traditions, you find a God and there's all these barriers to meeting that supreme person. Or they don't even have a form. Like, don't even get that close. You get like a sunshine. You never really get to see the sun itself. Don't try and get that close. Don't try and look into the light too deeply, or you'll be completely blinded. Just appreciate it from over there where you are.
mm,
And here we have God with his guard down. He lets you know, these are my likes and dislikes. These are my parents. This is what I like to eat. This is what I don't like to eat. This is how I joke with my friends. So if this is Krishna and he's joking with his friends and doing all of these things and having these relationships, those friendships and relationships include us.
mm,
Are we getting to know Krishna in a deep, deep way where we can laugh with Krishna, joke with Krishna, cry with Krishna, figure out how to bring some joy into our hearts with Krishna?
mm. I appreciate you mentioning that, specifying that in a sense of bringing some joy into our heart with Krishna, because in the context of the verse, it's saying these conchals giving Duryodhana joy.
Yeah.
Duryodhana was a little bit of a twisted-minded fellow, and some of the things that brought him joy was, harming or exploiting other people. And so sometimes what you know how what I appreciate the way that you're elevating it to the idea of, what is it that brings me joy, and finding that, and making sure that I'm experiencing joy and happiness in my spiritual life, and at the same time, questioning or assessing, this sort of short-term and long-term investment of happiness, and that we're sometimes sold a story about certain things that we think bring us joy, but actually don't. Um, Sometimes we trick ourselves into a lie of thinking this is good for me, or I'm happy, or this is something that um, that may or may not be um, actually satisfying us on a certain level, or it's a cheap thrill, or it's something that's a little bit um, less than what we're looking for. And
Yeah.
so I think that there is, and I'm curious if you have thoughts on that, of relating it to the specific context of Duryodhana feeling joy about something that um, is destructive, and
What's
how we
interesting?
can relate that to where we how do we gauge the things that bring us joy in that level?
What is so interesting and fascinating to me about the Vedas and about these Vedic histories is that all the things that we would condemn don't
Mm,
always get condemned.
mm,
The fact that this war, and these conch shells are announcing the beginning of this war,
mm,
and it gives Duryodhan joy. But for a warrior, that was actually an approved meditation.
mm,
And in a second, Krishna is going to speak to Arjuna about the fact that this life is our meditation. And it's not that, okay, my meditation is here where I sit up straight and I have my hands in whatever mudras and I'm breathing and doing all this stuff. And that's my meditation. And everything else is outside of that. Krishna is bringing us to a place of awareness and realizing that everything in life is a meditation. Simply depends on what and who and where and how and what we are meditating on. But
mm,
everything is a meditation. And
mm,
so um this war, which feels ghastly, spoiler alert, there's going to be upwards of 600 million people that perish in this war. And Yudhishthir, the older brother of Arjuna who was fighting to become king, he gets inconsolably depressed about it. Interestingly enough, Krishna winds up speaking Bhagavad Gita a minimum of at least 3 times. He actually speaks it before the war. So the day before this war happens, backtrack to yesterday, Yudhishthir has a breakdown, almost identical to Arjuna's breakdown. And what he does is he seeks counsel from Krishna. Krishna, I can't do this. You want me to do what? I'm going to be in charge of telling people go over there and kill all those people? Why do I have to give that order? What? I can't do this. Krishna gives the same instructions to Yudhishthir. Arjuna and Bhima, two other brothers, are also there, and they wind up telling Yudhishthir, how can you give up your duty? This is our meditation as warriors, as administrators. This is our religion. This is our dharma. This is our constitutional occupation.
mm,
How can you give this up? And then the very next day, Arjuna has a breakdown on the battlefield, and we have this Bhagavad Gita again. It's
mm,
literally one day after another. So I find it so interesting that not only is Duryodhana not condemned for this bringing his heart joy, we're about to see answering conch shells. So, what are we heralding into our lives every day?
mm,
Where's the conch shell in our life? What is heralding a change? What is heralding our happiness? What is heralding our meditation? Are we aware of it? Duryodhana was twisted, but very, very aware.
mm,
He knew what he wanted, and he was going to give himself that permission to go after what he wanted. He was going to back up every single one of his ambitions with the faith that he was doing the right thing. And I feel like how many times do all of us we think about the things that we're doing and they actually are beneficial for the
mhm,
people around us and for us. And then we second guess them. We put them on the shelf, we put them down, we tell ourselves, no, I can't do that. This
Mm,
was not Duryodhan. He had full faith that he was doing the right thing.
mm,
No one was going to convince him otherwise. He had full faith that he was doing the right thing, even when he was going to follow his truth. And Krishna doesn't actually condemn that fact. The fact that his truth was now harming a whole bunch of people and all these things and all whatever, and that was condemnable. But the fact that he was following his truth was not. So interestingly enough, Krishna finds reasons and validations for war. This war that we think, how could this happen? Like, how is this possible? Krishna has all the behind the scenes perspective of the reasons and validations for this ghastly scene.
mm. Question I've been asking myself recently, in the last 24, 48 hours, is what am I celebrating?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that for you, as you were sharing just now, this, what am I heralding in every day? Um, this question of what around myself and my life what am I celebrating? What am I looking to celebrate? I think if I'm not celebrating things regularly, it means I'm either not aware of the wonderful, beautiful things that are happening, or I have forgotten what are the beautiful, wonderful things that I want to be taking place in my life, that I'm aspiring for, that I'm seeking. And I think, the idea of having purpose is very much related to the idea that there's something I'm striving for, some meaning that I am reaching for, and then some obtaining that in some way, shape, or form. It's a natural human function of feeling like there's something that whether it's the smallest thing like making my bed in the morning, or making a meal, or um, something small or something grand and big in terms of doing something else. But I think there's this sense of knowing what it is that I want to celebrate, and identifying them regularly in my life. Um, because otherwise, I think we do lose that sense of meaning or purpose, and we do lose that sense of cheerfulness, because we feel like, what is it that I'm looking forward to and can celebrate?
My mom used to walk around, and there would be like it could be an unimaginable world situation. There could be famines and all of these things happening, and my mom would walk around the house and go, "But I'm so thankful for indoor plumbing."
Mm-hmm.
It was like small things like that, and she'd smile with it. But I'm so thankful for indoor plumbing, and I think that we forget to allow the small things to bring us joy.
Mm,
There's already so much happening in the world. We can kind of feel like, but do I have permission to be happy? Because there's a whole bunch of people over there that have every reason to be downtrodden and sad.
mm,
There will always be every reason to be downtrodden and sad. But we have to give ourselves permission to be happy.
mm. Thank you. It's beautiful. Shall we continue?
Sure. 13.
More conch shells.
That's right. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. I actually always loved that verse.
Mm.
Also, it's just kind of like, where's this orchestra on this battlefield? Like, yeah, everybody had trumpets and kettle drums. I was like, you know how big a kettle drum is? Kind of big. Like, where did you have these? On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Mm.
Love it.
Love it.
And in contrast, you've got this stark contrast. Bhishma, who is a wonderful, valiant. He is like the godfather of all of these warriors, whether they are directly related to him or not. And
Mm-hmm.
he's blowing his conch shell. And then you've got Krishna and Arjuna, and their conch shells are specifically described as transcendental.
Divya Shankar.
Like it's so amazingly cool. And if you think about any of the times, any time else where Krishna would blow his conch shell, people are flocking to that area, running to try and just, it's like described in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When he comes back to Dwarka after all of this has happened, he blows his conch shell at the edge of the city, and everybody in the city goes and rushes to see him, and I literally mean everybody. And they go and they rush and they see him, and there's poets and there's singers and there's dancers and there's all these people. And it says that it's like they had come back to life after being in like a coma.
Mm. Sometimes in New York City, you walk around the streets and there's these big lines of like outside a store or somewhere because there's like some celebrity that's went inside or
Yeah.
coming out or something. You're like, who's there? What's going on? Imagine like this huge crowd of people lined up outside. You're like, what's going on? It's like, shh, Krishna's blowing his conch shell. Shh, Krishna's here. He's gonna blow his conch shell. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah. And so, they were just, it's like they said like they were sleepwalking through life in Krishna's absence. Krishna
Mm,
comes back, he blows his conch shell, and everybody knows, okay, our life has returned. Where do we find that in our lives?
mm,
Every arti, and that's why I am a big fan of blowing artis, blowing conch shells in the beginning of arti.
mm,
We were at a Thursday night kirtan, and Jai Jagannath was, the pujari was asking Jai Jagannath, he's like, do you think I should blow the conch shell? And my nephew Vasudev was about to sing. And Jai Jagannath was like, I don't know. And I was like, blow it. And Jaya said, you think so? You don't think it'll disturb? I was like, no, watch what it does. Blow it. And he blew it, and Vasudev started singing, and all of the kartals and all of the drums started doing this rumble, and it sounds like a thunder of joy.
mm,
You ever get when you really want rain and then you hear that thunderstorm and it's summer and you get that great feeling? This is what that does to the heart. Krishna is coming. Krishna is here.
mm,
In our lives, are we listening out for the blow of that conch shell?
mm.
Krishna is coming. Krishna is here. I woke back up, no problem. And everybody just happily goes to greet him with all of their hearts, everything they can give, whether it's their voice, their poetry, their art, their dancing, there's whatever it is. We are just going to meet the Lord of our lives. So that's what conch shells mean to me.
I think you should always blow the conch shell.
We should always blow the conch shell.
Yeah, and every art ever just it's beautiful.
Supposed to. It's meant to announce to the entire creation that this arti ceremony is happening. And so what happens is they say when you blow the conch shell, not just the people that are there, but celestial demigods flock to that place because they hear it and they understand this sound of auspiciousness says that my Lord is here.
Mm, there you
Ooh,
go.
Lex, we got to get you to hear a conch shell in person. Or somebody blows a really good conch shell, it's like, whew.
All right. Let's continue in hearing about these conch shells. There's more conch shell verses.
That's right. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta. And Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijay. And Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sughosh and Manipushpak. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter, Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virat, and unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. I guess we can end with this last one. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra.
So one blowing of conch shells brought Duryodhana lots of joy, and one blowing of another conch shell shattered his heart.
He had faith on it. The Bhishma blew his conch shell. He's like, we got it. We're gonna win. The other side blew their conch shell. Like, I don't think we're gonna win. I think we're losing.
Yeah, how quickly things can turn. Um, we're getting to the end of our time here today, and I would love to invite Kimberly to share with us what kind of takeaways you got from this conch shell filled discussion.
Thank you. So today we're taking away that everything in life is a meditation
Mm,
and to actively celebrate all the ways that life brings us joy, whether it's big or small, because our spirituality is supposed to increase our cheerfulness and bring our heart joy.
mm, thank you. So, walk away for you, Chuta?
Figuratively, find a way in your day to blow a conch shell. Herald in that
Or
auspicious,
literally?
or literally.
Yeah, nothing wrong with
If,
that.
if you like, I spent time when I was younger practicing how to blow a conch shell. I was like 7.
Get a conch shell. Let's take away.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate that. For me, it's what am I celebrating? I think if we lose track of the things worth celebrating, or that we're seeking to celebrate, we got to pause and find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to pause and find what are the things I'm celebrating. Whether it's related to my career, my family, my personal life. Like, what are the things I want to celebrate, and celebrate them regularly. So,
Find your joy.
find your joy. Okay, peeps, we love you so much. We're so grateful to all of you. Thank you for being here. Please do keep in touch. Please be well. Take care. And we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye bye, Z's.